Alright, welcome back to another video in the multiplayer inventory component system. In the last video we set up most of the stacking functionality. I think we got that working quite well. So we can now pick up items, we can drop them, and we can drop a specific amount of them as well. So as you can see here, we got some different items, and so that's what we're gonna start doing now, is some different item categories so that we can pick up different items. So yeah, you don't have these are very simple to set up. So basically in the master item I have, if you just right click and create a child blueprint, you get to other actors. I did that twice, and these are inheriting everything from the master item. So in these we can now just change the details for like the names of the item and the image of the item and stuff like that. So these are pretty simple. Just you would set up your own items. You could do like a potion or a shield or a weapon or whatever. So these are just, this is just a static mesh cube with a green material, and this is a cylinder with a red material. So nothing fancy there, they're just there to showcase the functionality and to show that we can actually get it working. So first and foremost, in these items we need to change the details first. So this is cube item, and cube item will have a, what did I call it, square icon, and I just made simple icons for them. You can get your own icons. Cube icon, so I just made it simply, it's just a texture with a transparent background. And we get, in the cylinder item we do the circle icon, and we call this circle master item. Isn't this supposed to be name? Yeah, item name, there we go. So now we got a bunch of different items, and I would do a, yeah, you would probably do a new folder with all the child items and sort them in different categories and stuff. So what we're gonna do now is, so we set up the and you can now see that we got an icon for each of the items. These automatically sort into 1, 1, and this was 5 in this stack from the start. So we can see that it works to drop them, and we get the items that we dropped, and we can pick them up again. So it's already a solid framework. Let's now set up some categories as well, because we want like all items, we want maybe shields, we want whatever. So you can obviously just change those to whatever you want later. I'm gonna do some generic ones. So we'll do an enumeration, call it E underscore item type, maybe. Is that good? Let's do item type. The misc, or we'll do none just to have a none. Then we'll do misc for miscellaneous. Consumable, we'll do weapon. We might do armor. Yeah, that's fine for now. Just some generic ones. You can just do as many as you want and name them to whatever you want. So in our master item, we now want a variable for item type. There we go. And what we want is, so here we want like buttons for all of the categories. So open our inventory. Widget. There we go. And let's see. Where do we create the actual inventory? We have the show inventory. All inventory slots, no update here. So in our inventory where we create all the slots. Right. So in our item type, no, it's fine, we did the none. So in here, we're gonna add another input called item type. And we are gonna from here, we're gonna drag out from this one, and we will do get item type. No, because that's a slot, right? In the item slot we have the held item, yeah. So get held item, get item, get class defaults. Just gonna see. Yeah, that's fine. And we are gonna check if it's equal to the enum of this one. So we're gonna collapse this to a function, but just while making it, I just wanna keep it up here to make sure it works. So we're only gonna go ahead and do this if it's the same as we chose. So now we need some buttons here. We're gonna add a horizontal box, and we're gonna add a button. Can't have it in the border. Let's just do this then. Where's the grid? Ah, it's here, yeah. No? Is it? Yeah, it's there. Gonna drag this down. Oh, not that. Actually, we can do in this vertical box here, we can drag this horizontal box here. And we want the horizontal box under the inventory. There we go. Now we can add some text to the button. We're gonna call it all. I'm gonna call this all items button. I'm gonna set the text to something like 18, 16. I'm gonna do another button called MISC items, text MISC. I'm gonna do another button called consumables button, MISC button. I'm gonna call this text consumables. And another button, weapons. There we go. I'm gonna grab all the buttons, type fill, and we can see that this does not work. It's mostly because of the consumables text use. I'm not sure. I'm gonna grab all the texts. I'm gonna set the texts to 12 instead. Just so that it fits. And let's see how that looks. There we go. We can see that we now have buttons for each. You could obviously do icons or whatever. I'm just gonna do text for now. I'm gonna see if I can find some free buttons to use. All right, so I just quickly set it up, changed it to usable so that it actually fits. I added some spacers in between, just with 3. So between all the buttons there's a spacer. And I removed the left and right padding of each of the text and buttons. So it looks a little bit better. And now we can see we got some nice inventory going on right there. However, when we pick stuff up, we get everything. So we want it to start by all. But when we click on MISC, we only want to show MISC items. When we click on usable, we only want to show use items. So, yeah, exactly. So, in our inventory component, when we show inventory, just thinking here. So when it's none, it's gonna show all. Right. So we first need to get some more space here. So drag from the item type. First we're gonna do a switch. Actually, let's make this a function now because it's already getting messy. Can plug out this mesh. Collapse this to function. Check item type. So first, there we go. So we're gonna switch on item type. If it's none, we're gonna return. Let me think for a little bit. Alright, so this is how the function will look. So there's an input of an item slot and the item type. The item type is the item type that we pass through, and the item slot is the item slot that we try to create. Should do this before actually. Yeah, that's stupid. I should check here, because there's no point in us actually doing the item. Yeah, that was stupid. So this is not actually gonna be an item slot. There we go. So we're gonna compare these class defaults. So before we do anything else here, we're gonna compare the class defaults of the class reference with the item type that we want to create. So this should also be an item type. I'm just thinking as I go. Okay, yeah, like this. Okay, I'm gonna walk you through it. So, here we go. So, we get the item type. Before we actually create the slot and check stacks and everything, the first thing we need to do is check if we even want to show the item in at all. So we do that by getting the class reference from the current inventory array item. We check it with the item type that we're trying to sort by. Item type sorting. We can change this just so it's easier for us to understand. We check the item type, so if it's none, if we set it to none, that means we sort by none. That way we create slots all the time. But if it's any of the other items, then we check if it's the same in both of these, and if they are, we say to create slot. If not, we set it to false, and this is just an output on the create slot on the returner. So just right click, return node, and there you select the output to be a bool that's set to true or false. So that means that at this point we should still create all of them. Shouldn't get any errors. No, we didn't. So what we want to do now, this is on the update inventory slot. So whenever, let's say we press MISC on button pressed, we are going to update we are gonna get the inventory component. We don't have a reference to that. I should probably have a so in the inventory components. Yeah, we should have a reference to the inventory here. So we're gonna create a variable for the inventory. We're gonna set it to instance is editable, expose and spawn. And in the inventory component, we're gonna refresh this. And we're gonna grab the inventory here so that we actually have a reference to the inventory. That means when we press the button, this will now be set because we get the inventory. Actually, oh yeah, it's fine because we recreate it every time we update the inventory. So on MISC, we will only show MISC items. So that means that it should, if we pick up all of these, yeah. So that means they disappear when we press MISC. And if I press the all button, we're gonna do the same but with none. So we don't sort item type sorting. It's none. So that means they should disappear and they should come back up. They did not. Okay. Was it because I forgot to drag the inventory in? I'll just see if I can do like this instead. Inventory component should, if I do instances editable, no, so in the inventory component, remove private. I'm just trying stuff out here. Just gonna do like this instead. Okay, let me pause and see what's happening. All right, silly mistakes all the time, silly mistakes. So yeah, that took me a while. I quite quickly figured it was something wrong with this function, and I couldn't figure it out. It's actually quite simple. It's because every time we update, we also of course need to clear all the inventory slots that we created and added to this before we do it again. So just get all inventory slots, clear them, and there we go. So now, if we pick them up, we have all. This one is MISC. It's all MISC, all MISC. We can make the, let's make the circle one a weapon. And in the inventory, pressed. And since we do this, we don't actually need this anymore. So let's remove this. And that means we can go back to our inventory components and we can remove this again. And we can actually set this to private again. Instance is editable and private, so we don't have that one interrupting us. So we need for all the buttons, weapon button, usable button, and armor button. This is armor, consumable, weapon. Okay, no, we can't do that. Okay, sorry. Go back to the inventory component. And we can't have this as private. Here we go. That should work. we have all, we have misc, we have no usable items, we have one weapon. What we probably need to do is we also need to set the button styles so that when we actually select all, we can see that which one it's on. We also need, I think we need to make some custom focusable buttons for the controller so that we can actually use the controller more effectively also. Yeah. Anyway, that's gonna be it for this one. A long one again, not too bad though, 30 minutes, that's acceptable. And as always, let me know in the comments if you have any questions, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!